Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Talk Sense show. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Tone Vays, and he's known for Sequential. This is basically a system to do trading. And you've been a trader all your life. Welcome, Tone.
Thank you. Thank you for doing the interview. I'm really enjoying it here in Dubai.
Fantastic. Yeah, indeed. It's been a wonderful week, actually. We had just the Alternative Investment Summit here in Waldorf Astoria, where you spoke on stage as well. And of course, I mean, how can we forget in the beginning of this year, you had a fantastic battle with Roger Ver, with Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, which obviously... we know how that went, basically, but the whole thing is this: that whatever Roger is saying, he's doing his stuff. He's also part of our community, and you are also, making your point going forward. And then, a highlight of this year, where you were basically with Nouriel Roubini on stage and Craig Wright. That was an epic battle, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy panel. It was interesting. I don't know if these panels are good or bad for the community. It's almost becoming the Jerry Springer show out of the US, where you put a bunch of controversial people on stage and they're not even, there isn't even a single specific topic that they're experts on. But it was a good one. I got to wear a nice shirt that hopefully will go into the history books with some of those pictures. So that was more fun than useful, but it was great.
Absolutely. For the guys who've missed that, basically the T-shirt said everybody is Satoshi except Craig Wright. So, I mean, that's an epic one.
And the iconic picture was the fact that I was sitting next to Craig Wright wearing that shirt. And there were some really good images that came out of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is absolutely epic. I think the highlight when it comes for news in 2019. So, how is Dubai been treating you?
Very good. Really enjoying it here. I haven't really even gotten a chance to walk around Dubai and see some sights, though no one really walks around Dubai. Drive around Dubai and see some sights. I've been here almost a week now, but it was 2 days of the conference, and yesterday there was a rainstorm, as ironic as that sounds. The whole city shut down, not prepared for any kind of water coming out of the sky here in the desert. And I do want to see it a little bit. It's my first time in Dubai. AIM Summit was absolutely great. I had a great time. Events like AIM Summit need to be more of a focus for me than all of these blockchain weeks and all these blockchain conferences. Because at an event like this, I have a new audience. People aren't very familiar with my work, and I am sitting on stage with other important people, and there's other important people speaking, especially in the investing family office space. So these are the types of events I look forward to speaking more at than within my own community, and also events with potential government officials, government economists. I know Nouriel is now popular in the crypto community, but there are other very notable economists that think they understand Bitcoin, but they just don't, because I know how hard it is, even for academics. I mean, you're busy. Everyone wants an interview, and everyone wants you on stage, and you have your students, and you have governments that are asking you for advice. So when do you find the time to research the latest technology? And it's challenging, and hopefully I'll get a better chance to talk to these people in private.
No, absolutely. I mean, also 2019 was the year that you did an event in Las Vegas, right?
Correct. That was very early in the year. I've done 2 events since then as well, and I felt that this space was missing something. Attending all of these events and speaking at all of these events for years now, I saw things that I wasn't getting out of the events. And when you see something missing, what do? You have to build it. So I put together a conference in Las Vegas, which is the most Bitcoin conference focused event in the space. just general Bitcoin panels. It's called Unconfiscatable. I actually happen to be wearing that shirt today, just a coincidence. And I have another conference called Understanding Bitcoin, because in my role on Wall Street, I was always the guy that tried to explain complicated financial topics and some of the technology behind the finance in the most layman's term for the non-technologically inclined. And I felt that was missing in the Bitcoin space. So I wanted to have a concept, and I'm not the only one putting that conference together. It's called Understanding Bitcoin. Wouldn't even be possible without Adam Back, the person mentioned in the white paper. And this is where we're bringing core developers to explain how to use the Bitcoin technology that they're actually building. And my final one is called the Financial Summit, and that's a way to connect traders and hedge funds so they can work together. That's more of a week-long event, maximum 30 attendees, so people can spend time talking with each other. And I felt that these three niches were just missing from the crypto conference scene.
I got it. I mean, so one of the things you try to do, I mean, and still a lot of people still do not understand what Bitcoin is and how the blockchain works. So, I mean, giving that part of education is also somewhere needed. And then you talked about a very niche group, a small group basically, because when you go to some conferences, there can be hundreds of thousands of people at times, where you are a week long together, you really get to know each other and see each other's strengths and, see how that can be, utilized using each other's expertise going forward. So I think that's a real fantastic to see. I'm actually standing behind this beautiful picture. I mean, you play poker as well, right?
I do a little bit. I never really played even in a semi-professional way, but we had an epic 100-people Bitcoin poker tournament at the Las Vegas conference. It was sold out. There were several professional poker players there, including Doug Polk and Phil Locke. And I made the final table, so I can't be that bad.
I think you're being a little bit modest startup here. But more importantly, how are we looking at 2020 going forward?
So 2020, let's start with the technology. I am beyond happy with the way Bitcoin technology has been advancing since those ridiculous fork wars of 2017. I know it's been almost 2 years. That was 2017, towards the end of the year when those forks were happening. It was in the summer, but it's been a while. It feels like ages ago, but it's been great. The advancements in Bitcoin are numerous. Lightning is now being used by more and more people. The liquid sidechain has launched. Granted, Bitcoin moves very, very slowly because it's important for Bitcoin to move slowly. Move fast and break things might work really well for some streaming app. That's not exactly what you want in the new global financial system. You want it to be as stable as possible to bring more confidence to the people. So the technology, I could not be happier. Everything is going great. Bitcoin had not had any downtime in the last 2 to 3 years at all. So it's awesome. As far as the value of Bitcoin, which is what everyone cares about, and the price of Bitcoin, I think it's still going to be a struggle. We all want Bitcoin to be $100,000 a coin. The reality is, of course, more complicated. There's regulations involved. There's still Bitcoin security issues. Binance was hacked not that long ago. There's still lots of immaturity on the trading side. Liquidity is still very thin. There needs to be more trading, need more efficient markets. And the speculative nature is still there with people. It still continues to bother me how people continue to believe in all of these altcoins from Ethereum to Litecoin on down. I've been saying for a long time that Bitcoin is going to separate from all of these. They're all going to be totally irrelevant into the future. And that future seems to be coming slower than later. I was hoping people would be a little smarter after the insanity of the 2017 ICO bubble. Feels like almost nobody has learned any lessons.
So we've talked about this before actually. If you look at, there are 3,000 altcoins now on CoinMarket. It's just phenomenal how much coins there are there. We've talked about it before that, maybe 99% might vanish in the coming 5 years.
Yeah, no, I've been totally expecting that. I really don't pay attention. I don't put any money or investment in any of the other altcoins. It's just Bitcoin to me. And I wouldn't talk about the price of Bitcoin yet. I've been a bear for about 2 years. And I still think we're not out of the woods yet. I'm still a little skeptical on a lot of these price rises. I know we had that big rise in the price all the way up to 14,000 from 3,000. We're now sitting here at 8,000. And I still think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. I think the halving will help raise the price of Bitcoin in 2020. But I still think there's a little more downside left before the actual bull market after the next halving begins.
I got it. So, you look at charts quite often, right? Can be even the S&P 500, which you look at. What can we see actually in the S&P 500? Because of course, we've been looking as into the Bitcoin for quite some time, but I'm also curious, what do you think about general stock markets, basically?
I've been a huge bull on the stock market for over 5 years now, and I continue to be a big bull in the stock market. I know everyone thinks that the stock market is overvalued, but I don't think they're really thinking about it rationally. Yes, the governments around the world are printing a lot of money, and people are starting to lose confidence in a lot of these governments, but that is more reason for the rise in the stock market because they are private assets. If you don't trust, if you think your money is going to be devalued, why not invest it in companies? And something like the S&P 500, weak, bad companies leave the index. New, strong companies go into the index. It will always have an upwards bias. And I think the automation and robotics and self-driving cars, all of that is coming. And companies that are creating this kind of efficiency are going to be driving the next set of innovations. So I remain a bull of the stock market, especially the US stock market. I was very bullish on the stock market with Trump's election. Trump is a businessman. He's a capitalist. Of course, he's going to be great for the stock market. I fully expect Trump to be reelected. So what am I expecting next year? More of the same. More lower taxes, better for corporation. The stock market will rise. A lot of people are screaming the dollar will collapse, the dollar will collapse. Great. That's another reason for the stock markets to rise because the U.S. stocks are priced in U.S. dollars. This is how the Zimbabwe stock market is the best performing market while their currency was collapsing, right? Because you run into the safety of the stock market. So you always have to think about what asset what currency your assets are being priced in. And if that currency is being devalued, then the value could potentially rise.
So 12 months, stock market still going strong? No signs of recession?
I don't think so. Maybe it's hard to say what's going to happen in 12 months. There could be a recession at the moment. I see no reason for stocks to be turning, right? I need to see it in the price. As a trader, as a technical analyst, I need weakness in the stock. I'm never going to guess the top at an all-time high. The stock market hit an all-time high in 2015. So if you called the top in the stock market every time it hit an all-time high, you would have been calling the top in the stock market almost every month since 2015, and that is just ridiculous. I would need to see the stock market actually turn and start to go down significantly before I announce that I think it's the end. Could we have topped? Yes, I believe yesterday the stock market had a new all-time high. Is it possible that yesterday is the high for the next 5 years? It's possible. But right now, I'm the kind of person that rather buy at an all-time high than sell at an all-time high. The markets can always get more expensive, just like things can always keep going down. So buying just because something is cheap is not a reason to buy it. Selling because something is expensive is not a reason to sell it. Things can always get more and more expensive. For the moment, I know the yield curve is inverted and everyone is scared of a recession. But for the moment, I would rather be long the stocks than getting out and short the stocks.
All right. So people say, talk about at least, the trend is your friend. Your friend is actually volatility, right?
Yes, my friend is volatility, but it's not always more volatility. Sometimes it's less. One of my favorite trading strategies is direction neutral spread trading with options. And sometimes that means, volatility is low. I want to buy volatility. I don't care which direction that volatility is going in. Or, hey, volatility is a little high right now, and these options are very expensive because the volatility is high. I think the volatility is going to come down. I don't care how, but it's going to come down. Maybe it's time to sell the volatility because it's being overpriced.
Got it. Tone, thank you so much for this interview. Again, getting a little bit to know and seeing your journey also throughout the years really gives us also, to see what you believe in and what you do not believe in. And one of the things you definitely do not believe in, that Craig Wright is Satoshi. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.